I want to apologize to 50 Cent. I deeply regret my actions and I am truly sorry. I shouldn't have printed your late mother's photo on a t-shirt, made any insulting gestures, or used vulgar language to verbally abuse your youngest son's sire. I crossed the line. My initial impulse was simply to protect my mother Tiny without considering the consequences or remembering my father's teachings about having boundaries. I know you are making a documentary about 30 women accusing my father T.I. and my mother Tiny, tentatively titled Surviving T.I. and Tiny. I know that part of your motivation is to take revenge on my family because of the hurt I caused you. I have truly realized my mistakes and I implore you, could you please stop making this documentary? I'm not trying to deny the accusations or defend my parents. I simply feel that this feud has caused far too much harm. If this documentary is actually released, it will only implicate more innocent people, escalate this endless feud, and cause more harm. This is not what I want to see, and I believe it is not what you truly want either. Therefore, I really hope that this feud can end here.
He was your man, like on the side, like on the side, just he was not a rapper at all.
Right.
So when Ballin' took place, and I'm looking and I'm going, oh, he having a moment. That's the Lloyd Banks. It's Lloyd Banks thing. He wanted that. He was watching them be that, like Mace be that, and Cam be that, and looked at, and it was finally he had one.
Mm-hmm.
And I just looked, and I knew I just took the shot, Murder, to see, because I wasn't sure he was gonna go for it. But I was like, we like Jimmy better than you anyway, Cam. You gotta watch and see how he's And then you see, he like, oh shit, he really like that. Give me this, Jimmy. Yeah, tell him we want you at the show, Jimmy. Yo, but that was one of those things I just threw it out. And see. And when I say people respond, how people respond to things matter, like the internet will take to it and just go off with it. Meek responds being the uncomfortability. He goes, yo, nah, I gotta spend $100,000 to find out why my name is in this like this. And it's in it only because he's uncomfortable. You don't hear him talking about French. French was right there. Right? Why get so quiet? You guys make me feel like I'm scared.
Well, no, I mean,
Now, do understand that I don't believe everybody.
right.
Like the accusations are way too fast, and it's wild. Like it's like I'm like
Meek Mill tweeted, I want to hire an investigative team to find out every specific detail involving Meek Mill named to Diddy case. I also want to look at who's powering the media involving Meek, anything to do with Buddy. And ends in quote, something not right.
Say one nice thing about Ja Rule.
Well, he's alive. The rap game is all fucked up now. What we gonna do now? How we gonna eat, man? 50 back around. That's Ja little punk ass thinking out loud. Southside till I die, that's just how I get down. I'm back in the game show.
You are embarrassing yourself. That's what the world heard as T.I. Ty wrapped his arm around his own son's neck inside a luxury suite at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Cameras were rolling. An Atlanta Falcons game was playing in the background. And what was supposed to be a chill Sunday in the A turned into one of the most replayed father-son clashes the internet has ever seen. But that wasn't even the wildest part of this story. Because just weeks before that moment, Tip was locked in a war of words with 50 Cent. 50 Cent that got so personal, so reckless, that it dragged wives, mothers, and children straight into the blast zone. Diss tracks flew, old legal paperwork resurfaced. Instagram turned into a battlefield. And then, right when it looked like this was about to spiral into something irreversible, Tip made a move nobody predicted. He reached out. And depending on who you ask, he apologized. But to understand why that shocked the culture, you have to rewind to where the tension really started. Back in the early 2000s, two different regions crowned their own king. Atlanta had Tip, Queens had 50 Cent. Both came into the game with street reputations that weren't manufactured in a boardroom. Both wore their survival stories like armor. And both built empires that stretched way beyond rap. On the surface, it looked like mutual respect. Award shows, industry events, occasional nods, no open smoke. Underneath, different story. When two alpha personalities dominate their coasts at the same time, comparisons are inevitable. Who had more hits? Who had more cultural weight? Who was really that guy? That quiet competition simmered for years without ever boiling over. Then came the Versus era, When legendary matchups became primetime events, fans started asking for dream battles. Tip claims that during a promo run in Los Angeles, he and 50 Cent had a private understanding. He would publicly call 50 Cent out. 50 Cent would accept, the culture would win. But when Tip made the challenge official, he says 50 Cent went silent. No confirmation, no hype, just air. And in hip-hop, silence can feel like disrespect, so Tip stopped keeping it private. On a nationally watched podcast, he looked straight into the camera and said 50 didn't want smoke, that he was ducking. Now, if you know 50 Cent's history, you know one thing. He doesn't ignore disrespect. Within hours, Instagram lit up. 50 Cent posted old court clips from Tip's 2007 federal case, reigniting long-running rat accusations that have trailed Tip for years. In rap culture, that label hits harder than any diss bar. It's not about sales, it's about code. And 50 Cent knows exactly where to aim. He followed it up with memes, laughing captions, subtle digs that made the situation feel less like a lyrical showdown and more like public humiliation. That's 50 Cent's specialty. Turn your opponent into a punchline before they even step into the booth. But Tip didn't laugh. He responded on wax. First came a snippet titled War, then the full diss, The Right One. And he didn't tiptoe. He questioned 50's authenticity, his legacy, his relevance. He painted him as a social media troll hiding behind memes instead of bars. Then he crossed a line. And he referenced 50 Cent's late mother. That changed everything. The timeline split in half. Some fans praised Tip for going fearless. Others said dragging a deceased parent into the fight was too far. Even in rap beef, there are unwritten rules. But if that was the earthquake, what happened next was the aftershock. 50 Cent posted an unflattering image of Tip's wife, Tiny, with a caption warning him to keep his name out of their mouths. Now it wasn't just about two rappers. Family was officially in it. And that's when King Harris entered the chat. King didn't issue a polished PR statement. He went live, emotional, unfiltered, his voice shaking as he defended his mother. Then he said something that detonated across every platform. He told 50 Cent to dig up his own mother and post a better picture. It was raw. It was harsh. And it wasn't strategic. It sounded like a son protecting his mom. 50 Cent responded the way 50 Cent always does, with memes, comparisons, jokes that reframed pain as comedy. To him, it was content. To King, it was personal. And the tension felt different after that. This wasn't lyrical competition anymore. It was generational pride, legacy, and ego colliding in real time. But while everyone expected escalation, something strange happened. 50 Cent flexed in a different way. Instead of dropping a diss, he announced a sold-out Broadway production. A subtle message. While you're recording disses, I'm selling out theaters. It was a power move that shifted the narrative from bars to business. Then, February 25th. Without warning, 50 Cent wiped every Tia-related post from his Instagram. Every meme, every jab, gone. For a man known for relentless escalation, that silence was loud. Rumors started swirling that Tip had made a direct call. Not through social media, not through intermediaries. Man to man. The word that kept surfacing was apology. Not groveling, not surrender, but acknowledgement that things had gone too far. That mothers and wives didn't belong in this. That legacies built over decades shouldn't burn down over ego. Some fans believed it was growth. Others believed it was marketing. Tip's rumored final album, Kill the King, was on the horizon. The timing looked convenient. In an industry that's mastered manufactured controversy, skepticism made sense. But whether strategic or sincere, the shot stopped. And that silence might have saved more than reputations. Because hip-hop history is full of beefs that didn't end with post-deletions. Now here's the twist. This wasn't the first time Tip found himself in a public confrontation that went too far. 2 years earlier, long before the 50 saga, another live broadcast shook his image. November 26, 2023, Falcons vs. Saints, a family outing inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Tip had been posting wholesome moments with his kids earlier that day. Everything looked normal. Then King went live from the suite. The conversation started with words. It escalated quickly. Tip asked his son if he'd ever woken up with roaches on his face. It wasn't random. It was a reminder. Tip grew up in poverty. King grew up in privilege. And Tip was challenging the tough persona King often projected online. To Tip, it felt performative. To King, it felt like disrespect. The argument intensified. King repeated one phrase over and over. I stand on business. It became his anthem that night, his declaration that he wasn't soft, that he wasn't just a rich kid playing dress up, that he was his own man. Every young man eventually faces that moment, looking at his father and saying, "I'm not you," but most don't do it in front of millions. When the shoving started, Tip reacted instinctively. He wrapped his arm around King's neck in a headlock, not to injure him, but to restrain him. "You are embarrassing yourself," he said repeatedly. The optics were brutal. A Grammy-winning artist, a man who survived federal charges and rebuilt his empire, grappling with his own son in a stadium suite. Tiny stepped in and separated them. The live stream ended, but the clips didn't. Within hours, the footage was everywhere. King posted emotional messages afterward, one questioning whether his family saw him as a mistake. They were deleted quickly, but the internet never forgets. Tip responded calmly. He told outsiders to mind their business, said it was family, private, not for public debate. But the deeper issue was obvious. King wanted independence. Tip wanted control. One grew up fighting for survival, the other grew up inside success. That gap isn't just financial, it's psychological. The "I stand on business" repetition wasn't about toughness, it was about identity. And just like the 50 Cent beef, the situation eventually cooled down. Tip publicly reaffirmed his love for King, promoted his music, supported his growth. By 2025, King posted that he was becoming the man his father raised him to be, that they were seeing eye to eye. Maybe that Falcons incident wasn't the breaking point. And maybe it was the turning point. Here's what makes this whole saga fascinating. In both situations, with 50 Cent and with King, Tip reached a moment where escalation was easy. He could have doubled down, fired more shots, protected pride at all costs. Instead, he stepped back. With 50 Cent, it reportedly meant a direct call and clearing the battlefield. With King, it meant choosing reconciliation over dominance. That doesn't erase the drama. It doesn't undo the harsh words or the viral footage. But it suggests something rare in a culture that rewards endless conflict: restraint. Legacy isn't just built on how loud you roar. Sometimes it's defined by when you decide to stop. And whether you believe the 50 beef was promo, pride, or pure emotion, one thing's clear. The man who once thrived on confrontation is learning that not every war needs a winner. Some just need an ending. So the real question isn't who won the beef. It's this: when pride, family, and legacy collide, what matters more? Being right or protecting what you built? Because sometimes the strongest move isn't dropping another diss. It's putting the phone down before everything burns. And in this case, the story might finally be cooling off. But the lessons from it? Those are just getting started. If you want more deep dives that go beyond the headlines and really unpack what's happening behind the scenes in hip-hop culture, hit subscribes. Because in this era, the posts are polished, the captions are strategic, but the truth, it's always more complicated than it looks. Until next time, stay sharp, stay curious, and don't let the algorithm think for you.